Housing Minister Clare O'Neil is in the headlines this morning after being linked to an organisation which has been associated with the Chinese government and its foreign influence operation. The Hubei Association had reportedly been recruiting volunteers for Clare O'Neil's electorate before the minister's office was forced to decline the offer. The same group is now at the centre of an election watchdog probe into foreign interference within Teal MP Monique Ryan's campaign after volunteers said they were required to support her. For their take, let's bring in Clare O'Neil now and Shadow Finance Minister Jane Hume. Clare, we will start with you. You are front page news this morning. Help us clear this up. What's going on?
Well, I can be really clear with you there, Nat. My staff and my office did not make any request for assistance from this organisation. The organisation offered assistance to the office and my team did exactly the right thing, which is politely declined that offer of support.
So does it look a bit sort of dodgy though? Are you worried that they were were they trying to infiltrate you? Is that a problem?
Look, Nat, all I can say is my staff did exactly the right thing here. As I say again, I didn't make any request for assistance from this organisation. The support was offered to my team. My team declined that support and that was the end of the matter.
OK. Moving on, Peter Dutton says he believes younger voters tend to side with Labor while renting and before they own a home and start to worry about the economy and job security. Have a listen.
A lot of young people, it's probably not until they buy a home and have a mortgage that they start to worry about economic management and job security once they have kids. And people are renters for longer, and generally that means that they're more inclined to support the Labor Party. And then as their views mature politically, they come across to the Liberal Party.
Jane, do you have to have a mature political view to vote for the coalition?
Well, certainly on Saturday, Nat, we'll be asking for the vote of all Australians. Our concern, of course, is that younger people are not just renting while they're young, they're renting as they get older too. We want more Australians to own their own home, which is why we have announced a series of housing policies on the supply side, investing in that enabling infrastructure, $5 billion, maintaining a sustainable inflation, a sustainable immigration intake to reduce the pressure on supply, but most importantly too, allowing young people to access their own superannuation savings, to make that deposit on their first home and having tax deductible interest repayments for the first 5 years of owning their own home if they're building as well. These are policies that we see will allow Australians to get into their first home sooner, and that's great for not just those families, but it's great for their communities, it's great for their families because it creates a more stable family environment, creates economic security. Home ownership is good for Australians. That's why we want them to be there.
Yeah, but it was more about the way Mr Dutton spoke. How do you think younger Aussies feel about this characterisation by your leader that as you mature, you become a Liberal?
Well, I think that there is no doubt that young people feel left behind by the Albanese government and they want to see hope for their future. They feel like that they're a generation lost, that they've missed out on the prosperity of Australia, which is why these home ownership policies are so profoundly important.
So
and
why
there is
wouldn't they
no
be going
doubt,
for you
there is
if
no
they'd
doubt,
feel left behind?
There is no doubt that as you get older and you have a family, for instance, that you start looking forward to what's better economic management opportunities, what's the future going to hold for the prosperity of our nation, not just for you, but for your kids as well. I think that's a pretty basic assumption.
Okay, Clare, you seem to be laughing.
Oh, look, I just, it's Peter Dutton's "it's not me, it's you" moment. And in my experience, that doesn't work romantically and it certainly isn't going to work politically. I mean, fancy coming in days away from an election and pointing at an entire generation of people and saying, you're not voting for me because you're not mature enough. It's absolutely offensive and ridiculous. The truth is that the Liberals have got nothing to offer young people this election. They say that their massive HECS debts are absolutely fine, whereas Labor's going to cut them by 20% on the 1st of June.
But future
they don't have real
pay
housing policy. This is a party that doesn't support penalty rates, that doesn't support pay increases for low-paid workers. Peter Dutton can't even acknowledge that climate change is real, and this is one of the main things that this young generation care about, which is really, well, actually check the record, Jane. I mean, it's not been the greatest of campaigns, but one of the many blunders, one of the many blunders has been Peter Dutton saying he can't quite bring himself to acknowledge climate change. So, look,
No,
I'd just say for young people across the country, Labor respects you. We respect you deeply, and that's why we've got a policy offering that's going to make a real difference to you on the cost of living, on housing, on your HECS fees, and on other matters that you care about.
Go out to those polling booths and you will see thousands of young people supporting the Liberal Party in this election because they feel let down by the Labor Party.
I thought
they feel
Peter
let
Dutton
down
didn't think
and
they were
worse
mature
off
enough
of the
to
last
understand
3
that they
years.
had to vote Liberal.
You don't need to go out that far on the polling booths, Claire. There might be Chinese spies that are, handing out for you, but for us, there's dozens, thousands, hundreds of young people that are out there handing out how to vote cards for the Liberal Party because
Chinese
they want a better life. They want a better
Clare.
future. Well, that's what the newspapers are saying. That's what the newspapers
I think
are
they're
saying.
getting a bit desperate, Nat, and I perhaps, if I was
Claire,
in Jane's
here's your
position, I would
opportunity.
be too.
You can do what Monique Ryan did and refer yourself to the Electoral Integrity Task Force.
Did
Because
she
as the
need-
former
Give it
Home
up,
Affairs
give it up,
Minister,
Jane. Give it up,
there is
Jane.
your
Do you need to
opportunity.
do that?
Are you going to do that, though?
She said she...
Oh,
Claire,
look,
response?
Monique Ryan did.
Honestly, Jane, you actually sound a bit wild right now. This is totally desperate and
As the
ridiculous.
former Home Affairs Minister, will you
Peter
refer
Dutton's
yourself to
out
the
there.
Electoral
Peter
Integrity
Dutton's out
Task
there
Force,
pointing
as Monique
pointing
Ryan
at
did?
millions
gonna
of young
do it?
people around the country, pointing at them and saying you're not smart enough to vote Liberal.
They're
Well, I
handing
think
out
young
for
people
us.
know exactly.
Young people are
Young people
handing
know
out
exactly
how to
where
vote
that's going to
cards
go,
for
and
us.
it's going to go in the bin. It's going to go in the bin, Jane.
Okay.
Look at the stats.
Okay, I think you both had your say on that one. Finally, we know election campaigns can sometimes get nasty, but all week we're asking our politicians in our forums to say one nice thing about the other person. Claire, you first. What's one nice thing about Jane?
Well, I couldn't think of anyone I'd prefer to spend my Wednesday morning with, Nat and Jane. These have been wonderful experiences these last 3 years, and I've got lots of nice things to say about Jane, but I will choose this morning that she's a really snazzy dresser. And I don't say that just because we so often come on the show wearing exactly the same thing.
Wearing the same thing.
They do. I know. Our commercial break chats are actually really nice, despite sometimes what happens on air. Jane, your turn. One thing nice to say about Claire.
Do you know, probably your viewers don't know that Claire has 3 young kids, and having done this job with 3 kids myself, and now my kids are a bit older, I know how tough that is when you've got kids that are demanding of your time that don't necessarily understand what it is that you do each day. Claire works exceptionally hard. She makes it look seamless and easy. It's not easy. She is doing an exceptional job with those competing demands of family and professional life. So I tip my hat to her.
Yeah.
But you can say one more
Jane, you're
thing
so
to me,
nice.
Claire.
Let's have a cocktail. Let's have a cocktail after the
We'll have a
election.
cocktail.
Jane, I'm seeing your
There you
TikToks.
go.
Do you know, you could say one more thing to me, Claire. It's my birthday today. You could say happy birthday.
There you go. Happy birthday, Jane.
Genuinely,
See, there you go.
happy birthday.
We should put some of our commercial break chats to air because
We
do.
should.
Because people think, we have the opposing side Monday, Wednesday and Friday, and people think, oh, they must hate each other. But it's, we ring the bell and then everyone, goes and has a cocktail. Thank you very much. Good. May the best woman win on the weekend.